The Coronet by Andrew Marvell. This is the poem that we are going to discuss here, and you all know that Andrew Marvell was a metaphysical poet. So, therefore, taking the concept into our mind, we are going to discuss this poem, and here I will try to explain each of the works. Just stay tuned with this video, and let's have a quick look into the entire meaning of the poem. When for the thorns with which I long too long, with many a piercing wound, my Saviour's head have crowned. Here, the word coronet, you must have to remember that it is nothing but a certain kind of crown or a bonnet which is usually worn overhead. So here the poet is clearly saying that for the thorns with which I long to long with many a piercing wound. That means that the poet once upon a time, it may be many years ago, or maybe just he is thinking that he is also a part of this crime. So what was the crime? That with many a piercing wound my Saviour's head have crowned. Here, Savior means Jesus Christ. So, once upon a time, Jesus Christ has been given a piercing wound and he was compelled to wear the crown, which is made of thorn. And in this crime, Marvel is thinking that he was also a part of this crime, and he is not only a part of this crime, rather, the entire humanity is a part of this crime. And now I seek with garland to redress that wrong. The poet is trying to come out from this sin. He's trying to make a atonement by writing a beautiful poem or by waving a garland to glorify this Greek Savior, this Jesus Christ. Though every garden, every mead, I gather flowers. My fruits are only flowers. Dismantling all the fragrant towers that once adorned my shepherd's head, and only to glorify Jesus Christ. The poet has taken a long toil, and the toil means to gather the flowers. Here, you all must have to remember the meaning of the flower. Usually, flower, we all know like blossoms, but here the flower means also the suitable words to describe the glory of Jesus Christ through every garden, every mead. So the poet has searched through every garden, even through every meadows. Meadows are those places where we find a large number of grasses. So from the heap of grasses, from the garland, from the garden, the poet gathered the flowers to describe the beauty, to describe the glory of Jesus Christ. Dismantling all the fragrant towers, like once adorned my shepherd's head. Fragrant towers. It is also indicative of the fact that a place, a tower, a heap where fragrant just emanates out. Just here the line dismantling all the fragrant towers, like means that the poet has tried to bring out from the fragrant towers, from the very precious tower, precious place, to find out the proper flowers to glorify the Savior. Like once adorned my shepherd's head. Here, if we try to make a sense that the fragrant towers was also once adorned his shepherd's head. Here, the indication will be like that in the Elizabethan period, or we have seen many metaphysical poets writing their poetry only to eulogize their beautiful girlfriend or even their wives. So here, Marvell once also tried to eulogize, tried to glorify his shepherd, his girlfriend or his wife, and therefore his mind was filled with all kind of words. And here the poet is clearly saying that dismantling all the fragrant towers that once adorned my shepherd's head. The poet have also searched into his inner recess, into his inner mind to bring out some of the works so that he can glorify Jesus Christ. And now, when I have summed up all my store, thinking, so I myself deceive, so reach a chaplet thence to weep, as never yet the King of glory wore. And once the poet have summed up all the works, once the poet has gathered all the beautiful flowers to make a wreath, to make a garland, only to glorify Jesus Christ. And then he thought another idea. The idea is that his search or his storing up of all the greatest works, of all the greatest flower, are not enough to glorify Jesus Christ. And then I have summed up all my store. The poet has gathered all the beautiful words. The poet has chosen all the beautiful flowers, thinking, so I myself deceive. And here the poet thought that he has gathered the flowers or the works of supreme quality. And this thought is nothing but a certain kind of deceit, because the poet here clearly asserting that so rich a chaplet thence to weave, as never yet the King of glory or. The poet is thinking that the supreme quality of those flowers, the supreme quality of those works with which the poet is going to compose a poem, or the poet is going to compose a garland, and these garland or these poem thence to weave as never yet the King of glory or. And these garland will make the King of glory, make the Jesus Christ much more glorious. So this is the thinking of the poet. Like means that the poet has gathered all the flowers or all the works of supreme quality only to glorify Jesus Christ. Alas, I find the serpent old, that twining in his naked breast. And then a thought strikes into his mind. The poet thought that, alas, it is unfortunate that I find the serpent old whenever I am just making a wreath, whenever I am just making a garland with beautiful flowers. Then I found among the flowers the old Satan, the serpent. Here, serpent is taking us, our mind, to the paradise lost, which actually deceived our father and mother, Adam and Eve, and as a result, they were driven out from the Eden by God. So it is that serpent who is found in the garland. That means that the poet is now thinking of another idea. Twining in its speckled breast, here the serpent is actually twining, is coiling itself, and he is among the flowers. Here another idea may be like that. Here the poet saw the works of supreme quality, and then he thought that in the works there is also another sense. All the works are not only bearing the issue of glorifying Jesus Christ, rather all those works have another idea. And this idea is what we will find later. About the flowers disguised does fold with wreaths of fame and interest. Her fame and interest is nothing but the fame and glory of the poet himself. The poet also thinking that after writing the poem with those beautiful words, after composing the beautiful poems in the name of glorifying Jesus Christ, actually the poet is himself boasting of his own capability of writing a beautiful poem. Here, the word fame and interest is also bearing the indication of such a word. So here the poet is saying that about the flowers disguise does fold. So here the Satan is found in disguise among the flowers with wreaths of fame and interest. Here the Satan has with him the fame and interest. Here, actually, the poet is saying of his inner devilish power. Here, the poet is clearly indicating that he has seen, he has found some of the fame and interest which will be helpful to him, not to the Savior, not to Jesus Christ. O foolish man, thou wouldest debase with them a moral glory, heaven's diadem. But thou who only couldest the serpent tame, either his slippery knot at once untie. Here, then the poet is addressing himself as foolish man and just expressing a sigh, says that the wouldest debase with them. So, the word that he has chosen to compose a poem to glorify the beauty of Jesus Christ. This poem actually do uh, something bad to Jesus Christ that will never go with the glory of Jesus Christ. And a mortal glory, heaven's diadem. So with those words, he somehow managed to frame a glory which are suitable for the mortal human being, but which can never go with the heaven angel, heavenly angel, or God. So therefore, the poet is thinking that those beautiful poem will only bring disdain, will only bring a certain kind of debase to Jesus Christ. But thou who only couldest the serpent tame, and as a result, the poet is imploring Jesus Christ, the poet is requesting Jesus Christ to help him. So the poet is saying that thou, it is Jesus Christ, so you can have the capability, you have the power to tame the serpent. So therefore, please help me to tame the serpent, to drive the serpent away from me, so that I can produce a perennial work which will be only for the glorification of Jesus Christ. Either his slippery knots at once untie. The poet is saying that either you tame this serpent so that he can never bring me a devilish nature in my power of writing, or either his slippery knots at once untie, or the serpent which is now among the flowers, which is now among the words, just untie the knot of this snake so that it can go away from this place and disentangle all his winding snare, or just try to make this disentangle all its winding snare. So just disentangle this snake so that it can easily be driven out from this place. Here, the word which we need to understand, the winding snare, the slippery knots, and untie, all those are bringing the idea of a beautiful snake which is coiled itself on something, and the snake is not willing to leave the place. So what in this situation one person can do, either to disentangle, or either to untie, or either to unwind the snare so that the thing which this snake is circling about may come out from this place, or shatter to with him by curious fame. Or the poet is clearly saying that either you can shatter this Satan with him, means the poetry or the garland, my curious fame. So as a result, what will happen, that my curious fame, that means that my self-interest will also be dismantled, will also be destroyed. Whenever you will destroy the snake, what will happen, that my self-interest, that means the poet's self-interest, will also be destroyed. And let these wither so that they may die, and just let them fall into the ground so that the snake die at the same time, so that the poetry die, so that the self-interest, the boasting, the boastful nature of the poet may die. With skill and chosen out with care, Though the poet is saying that if Jesus Christ shattered the entire snake, shattered the entire garland, but the poet is saying that the garland is actually the product of much more skill. Uh, he has given his skill only to arrange the flowers one by one, and he has also chosen his works, suitable works, works with supreme quality to glorify Jesus Christ. But if Jesus Christ destroy, that will have nothing to do, that will bring no consequences on the poet. That they, while thou on both their spoils dost tread, and then thou, Jesus Christ, you can tread on those spoiled elements. So after destroying this, after destroying the snake and after destroying the poem or the garland, you can tread on those, because those works are not actually suitable to describe some heavenly God, heavenly power. May crown thy feet that could not crown thy head. So, as a result, what will happen? That those poetry or those crown somehow may glorify your feet, may be a crown of your feet, but that can never be the crown of your head. That means that those poetry will be of inferior quality, and that will not be able, that will not be suitable enough to describe your glory.